It's Dudes Who Bet Sports. Dudes Who Bet Sports. It's your favorite show. Dudes Who Bet Sports, where degenerates go. Dudes Who Bet Sports. Time to change your approach with Aaron Halterman and his father, the coach. Let's ride.
Well, the Associated Press is full of shit.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Dudes Who Bet Sports Show. Another big night and another big show. We're back. We've been gone a week, Papa Dude. Did you miss our Thursday show?
Oh, I love doing these shows. Of course I did. So I'm raring to go. We put it off a night because you guys had the blinkers off, I think, tomorrow night.
Yep.
Or last night. So, yep, there's plenty to talk about in football and to recap the Breeders' Cup as well.
That's right. Yes, a lot going on. Hopefully we don't get taken off the air like we did on Monday. Magic showing some copyrighted videos. So that was real nice.
Somebody took you off the air?
Yeah. NBC took us off the air. I guess they have like a robot that kind of monitors anytime their feed is being shown illegally. And so we were
showing the races, the replays.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. So we were taken off twice. Magic got us taken off.
If you'd have went on YouTube and taken them off of that,
I think that is exactly what he did.
Okay.
And I think anytime that logo is in the corner, their bot sees it and just shuts you down. So we're back, and great job, Magic. Listen, we didn't even think of that, and it's, as you've seen on our shows before, it's never been a problem. So, but needless to say, we won't be showing replays on this show. Quick thing. Sounds like Epicenter and Domestic Spending are both going to be okay. I do want to get that out of the way. Well, not get it out of the way, but kind of ease the minds of everyone first. Domestic Spending, I think the recovery is a little bit rougher for him, but he seems like he's doing really well after a prognosis that wasn't real great amongst the press room. We were pretty worried about that one, but he seems to be doing just fine. I think he's going to be fine. Epicenter, it never really was grim news for him. Always looked like he was going to be fine. All the talk was he's going to be fine. Had surgery that night, had a police escort over to the Rood and Riddle, and they performed the surgery, and happy to report he's doing just fine. It sounds like he's going to be just fine for stallion duty. So 2 good horses that went down, 2 good horses that are fine. So that's the good news.
Yeah, it kind of marred the day, really. That's a part of horse racing that all of us are really scared of happening when we go to the track, and it's just part of it. Horses break down all the time. Doesn't matter whether out in the pasture or what. But man, that is, for those of us that love the horses as much as we do, that's always bad when one of them has a problem. And then you have 2 like this. I got to tell you, you texted me. I was at the football game Saturday. You texted me that Flightline had won. And before I had a chance to watch the replay, we got back to the hotel, and I got on Twitter for some reason. I know what I did. See all the bitching about OU losing. That's why I got on there. And somebody had said on there, "Oh no, Epicenter, not him. Can't be." Well, it was Shotty's who it was.
Yeah.
No, it can't be Epicenter. And I thought, oh my God, because I didn't really know what had happened. I didn't watch the race for a while until I got some other verification that it looked like he was going to be okay, because I didn't want to see that. I
don't know if it happened in the big one or it was kind of right, where everybody could see it. The Domestic Spending one, it was like, I didn't even know it had happened until we got back to the room and people were kind of talking about it. Yeah, that Epicenter one, Magic, standing right by me for the race, he just went straight to the press room when he saw Epicenter didn't cross the finish line. Because we saw over on the backside, one just pulled up, but it's so far back over there, I couldn't see anything. And then he was watching all the horses come, and he saw it's the 6. He just left. He didn't want to see it. The crowd was really in kind of it was a little bit of a weird feeling because you had the flight line and everything happened there. Yeah. And then the people were really concerned. I got a lot of messages, but thankfully everybody's doing fine on that end.
Well, the other thing, somebody had tweeted that Asmussen was just sprinting as fast as he could go to get to Epicenter, which that's before I knew he was all right. And I thought, oh my goodness, he's really hurt.
That was the next thing I was going to say. Yeah, Magic said that the thing that made him just go straight back to the room from outside was he saw Asmussen flying down the track, and he said, I just couldn't sit there and watch that.
That's
And
it.
like I said, people are really worried, but thankfully he's going to be just fine. It's it sucks that he didn't get to show what he could do on that stage, but listen, we know what he is, so
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Might have ran as a 4-year-old, and that's sad too.
That's a sad thing. I thought he would be a great 4-year-old, and obviously now that's not going to happen. But you take the positives out of that when that happens, and you forget about the negatives. Who cares?
No doubt.
When it comes to that. All right, let's talk Breeders' Cup. Let's kind of put a bow on it. What was your favorite? I mean, and this doesn't have to be, wow, this was the greatest thing I've ever seen, but your personal favorite moment of the Breeders' Cup.
Well, I had 2 races I really enjoyed watching.
Okay.
The distaff I thought was fantastic. That finish was unbelievable. It didn't come out the way I wanted it because I wanted Clairiere to win.
Yeah.
And, my admiration for that horse is just, she just comes out of nowhere when you don't expect her to. And that's the kind of race she wins. And I thought she was going to. Malathot, great finish. And the other one was Blue Strike, I believe was its name.
Yeah.
Never heard of it. Never heard of her. And she ran the race of her life and photo finish. 3 of them hitting it at the wire. And the key here is, where was Nest? That was one we all thought was going to be pretty much a shoe-in, and that shows you what horse racing is all about. So I love that one. And because of the backstory and everything, I really got special thrill, whatever, out of Cody's Wish because of that story. That was cool. And that horse ran great. So those were my 2 favorites.
That really was cool, even though I had Cyberknife on top. That was
well,
really
I
cool.
liked it as well. But anyway.
Yeah, and that was a lot of fun to kind of watch that horse come by. I have nothing but respect for Cody's Wish too. So I mean, I'm not sad that he won. Let me put it that way. Yeah, that distaff was crazy. I hit the pick 4 and the pick 5, and I had Malathot and I had Nest. I used the 2 Pletchers, and it's just like, I don't think Malathot's ever going to get there. I'm standing next to a guy, Ryan, who we met this weekend. Really good guy. One of the best. One of the greatest things. I'll talk about that in a minute about all the people we met. But Ryan, really good guy. He had a straight double, a huge one. Malathot to Rebels Romance. Of course, Rebels Romance, very impressive in the next race.
Right.
And he was dying to get Malathot to the wire. He was praying, and I say, I think. And then, so that was thrilling, and it's always fun when it's close and you're on the right side of it.
Well, it's sickening when you're not, but
yeah,
I don't think Malathot gets the credit she deserves. She's pretty dadgum good, it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was awesome. She's awesome, and she's gotten, since she added the blinkers, she became awesome. I should say she never was just great, but until those blinkers were added, and it kind of gave her another level. Give a ton of credit to Todd Pletcher with this horse. I mean, my goodness, this horse kind of looked like, she's just not that great, not going to get the most out of her. Now she's a Breeders' Cup winner, and she finishes the career with those, 3 big wins in a row. So he deserves a lot of credit. As far as my top one, and I mean, or my most favorite moment, I think it's pretty easy. If he probably saved it and let me have it, but Flightline. I mean, I swear. The whole, pre-race, it's just like, I'm back in 2015. It was like seeing a clone of American Pharaoh. He looked just like him. His equipment was just like him. Blue Shadow Roll. They both wore the 4, the 4 saddle cloth. And I remember very vividly, Magic and I and Jared were kind of on the 3rd level outside watching them go to the post parade. I just kept shaking my head, and Magic's like, what's wrong with you? He's like, I was like, I feel like I'm right back in 2015. I said, this horse, the way he walks, the way he looks, the way he carries himself, is like, he looks like American Pharaoh when he was right here on this track, in 2015, 8 years ago. And, to see him do what he did, guys, I think sometimes when horses do it this easy, people don't really appreciate how just unique and rare what he did was. He literally sat behind an absolute blazing pace.
He did.
You're supposed to come backwards a little bit, at least, when you run that fast early. And then he takes off turning for home, and he just pulls away from everybody. It was amazing. Another thing, you watch this race back. Flavien Prat cranks up the pressure early on Life is Good. And when they went by us the first time, I looked at Jared and was like, oh my God, he's chasing him. And we're going to get the scenario that we didn't think we'd get. They're going to bang heads. All Flavien had to do was just ask that horse to ease off a little bit. And he did. And he let him go.
Yep.
Now he's 2-3 lengths behind on the backstretch, sitting exactly in that perfect spot. Around the turn, I look at Jared again. I said, he's got to go get him. And
he did.
Right when I said that, Flavien Prat does this. He looks under his arm for a good half second. And
yep.
I looked at Magic and I was like, there's really no telling what we're about to see, because he has one of the best horses in this country, who's never lost in this country, by the way, 2 lengths ahead of him, and he's not even concerned about getting him.
No.
All he's concerned about is who's making a move behind him.
Yeah. He's concerned about what he's going to have to do to beat the horse behind him.
Yeah.
And nobody even close behind him.
And it's funny, we were sitting in different spots from Samich, and Dr. Tang was there. And when we got back together, we all said the same thing. That moment when he looked under his arm like that, he's like, it's like, oh my God, we just got the chills. Yep. Because as a horse racing person that's seen these a million times, you knew it's like, uh-oh. It went from, I'm really nervous, I really want to see something great, to we're going to see something great.
Yeah. And it was obvious when he did that.
Yeah.
That he knew that he had the horse beat. He was afraid somebody might be coming up on him. And, he just blew that horse. And Life is Good is a great horse. And he just sucked him under.
Yeah.
And no one else was even a threat, so.
It was crazy. And the race for second was pretty good in that race as well. Olympiad edges out late. He gets by Taba to get second. And so that was a very, very good race from a horse that has just been really solid all year long. Only lost 2 races. One, he just I don't think he liked the track. He gets kind of a weird track at Saratoga that day in the Whitney. And then he lost to this freak. No harm in that.
No.
It was
what Baffert said. He said it was American Pharaoh at 4.
Yeah, right.
I thought that was a good quote.
And the thing about it is, you're always going to have people, argue with you. Oh, I don't think he's going to be that good. Oh, he's going to bounce. It's just not very often you see every big trainer kind of just already have that race conceded, and when the superstars come out, you see it. Like Baffert.
I've seen it once.
Yeah, Baffert had said all week, I just want to finish second. We can't win, Aidan O'Brien, one of the best trainers in the world, came over here. His horses ran fantastic, by the way, at this Breeders' Cup. He said, look, I came over here to see Flightline. We watch Flightline when he's on the television. We stay up, we watch him. And I will stay in the paddock for the Classic, even though he has no more runners left. I will stay in the paddock and watch him. And he did. He was standing right there watching him the whole time. He stuck around to watch him. That's when okay, this is a really, really good horse.
I've only seen it once, and you know which one I'm talking about, when Zenyatta came to Oaklawn.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, Lucas had a horse in that race, and Lucas could not keep his eyes off Zenyatta as Zenyatta was circling around in the paddock.
Yeah.
They just have that thing about them, and they don't come along very often. I think we can safely say with Flightline, I don't know if he's the best horse ever. You can't definitively say that. There's just no way you can. But he's the best horse for 6 races. I think we can say that. I think that's pretty clear. For the 6 races he won and the domination in each race, he might be the best horse for those 6 races that's ever been around.
Yeah, I don't get all up in arms about who's the greatest ever, or blah blah blah. They're all different. It's hard to gauge it. I think from a talent standpoint, he ranks right up there with anything I've personally seen.
He's the best.
Yeah, and look, he ran 6 times. We're never going to be able to sit here and say, oh, he's matching up with some of the great campaigns we've ever seen. We're just not. But talent on a given day, he's one of the best I've ever watched. Yeah, and Lord, yeah, Appleby was there as well. I didn't see an interview where he kind of talked about him, but he was standing there and watching as well. So again, Charlie Appleby, a guy who, in my opinion, is the best trainer in the world, period. I don't care what. He is money. And I have grown to really love him and respect him. And anyway, he was there as well with Aiden. So pretty special to see that. Biggest disappointment for me. Well, no, I'll let you go first. What's your biggest disappointment?
You know what mine is. So.
Yeah.
Jackie, and we kind of hinted at it on our last show that he just hasn't been running very well.
Mm-hmm.
And he did not run well again. And I think, he just lost a step. He was great for a long time. It's hard to keep that over and over and over again. And that was my biggest disappointment because I wanted to see him win a Breeders' Cup and go out on top.
Yeah, he was disappointing, and he really didn't have an excuse. That's the other thing. He was right there
to win. Yeah.
He turned for home, and I thought, yeah, he's not going to run like A+ race.
Right.
But he looks like he's going to win.
Yeah.
And just kind of ran in place, and that was really bad. Yeah, bad performance from Jackie. And, he retires a non-Breeders' Cup winner, which is really hard to believe when he was the favorite to win one 3 years in a row. And
he didn't run real well. He never did run well.
No. Well, that was his best finish at a Breeders' Cup race, and he really did not run well at all. So, yeah, you feel bad for him, but it is what it is. He'll.
Well, what's yours?
I gotta go. Well, see, it's tough. I'm very disappointed that Golden Pal did not get a chance to do what he does best. He was held at the gate and didn't break with all the other horses and got behind.
Yeah.
Last. And that's really disappointing when a horse doesn't even get a chance. And
when you say held at the gate, explain to people what that means.
Okay, so the starter, you pull them in, and then each horse has a starter assigned to them, like a gate crew guy.
Exactly.
And when the gates open, their hands go like this.
And
when the gates open, he had a hold of him. He didn't put his hand up, and so he was like a half second behind all the other horses.
Right.
And so that was disappointing when that happened. I just, it's explainable what happened to him, but at the same time, it's like this is a Breeders' Cup. Come on, like that can't happen. So that was really just disappointing. Also, it's Cave Rock for me. I think that's the most disappointing in a situation where I was just kind of, I can't really explain what happened. He just did not run very well. And there's the comment here too. He just didn't run. It seems like he turned for home, and I'm like, okay, that you've been in good shape. He just was like, I can't explain it. Like he was tied up in knots or something. And Forte just flew right by him. That was just weird to see. What did you think of Cave Rock?
Oh, he had every chance to win the race and didn't. Very disappointing performance by a horse. As Lord says, everybody had him singled.
Yeah.
Everybody thought it was a single, and Forte's a good horse.
Mm-hmm.
But if Cave Rock runs, he should have won. I thought he had it. I thought he had the race won.
He started to pull away a little bit from National Treasure, who was starting to make a little bit of a move, and I thought, okay, he's going to kick on, and then he
stopped.
He didn't change his leads. It was just weird.
It was.
Yeah, it was. The nest thing was definitely disappointing. I thought the trip was just bad, really bad. You can't park her out 5 wide all the way around the track and then expect her to kick on. She's not facing those 3-year-olds. She's facing tougher horses, and she just had the kick. And I thought it was a bad trip. And I don't know why they parked her out that wide for so long, but it happened and it sucked. She was too far behind, and maybe she just wasn't sharp enough. She was pretty far behind. And so maybe she just didn't show up with her best, but I wasn't totally just shocked because I did think Malathot had a shot in that race. But yeah, that was disappointing. I do want to address this because Dennis, you're so right. My most disappointing thing is I had a great Breeders' Cup from a handicapping perspective. I was all over it. I played a contest where you just pick the top 2 horses from each race against John White and Brad Free and Mike Hammersley and Jared. I won it. I won the contest. But when you look at my betting, I couldn't. I mean, I hit the late pick 5, and that was able to kind of get back and salvage a little bit of it. But if I needed a horse to run 1-2 and I had it straight, it'd run 2-1, like Cave Rock and Forte. If I needed a try, I'd run 1-2-4-5 if I box 4 horses instead of 1-2-3. If I, it's just on and on. And get this, early pick 5 on Friday. If Arabian Lion wins, which is a huge horse coming in for Baffert in an allowance, I hit the early pick 5. And Arabian Lion beat every other horse in the race but one by like 8 lengths. But one Brad Cox horse freaked coming out from Horseshoe, Indianapolis with 1 start and beat him. So it knocked me out of that.
Yeah.
If Cave Rock wins, I hit the late pick 5
right
on Friday. And again, I sat there and I looked at this. I said, all right, I'm going to single Cave Rock and use 2 horses in the last. The 2 horses run 1-2. The Cave Rock doesn't win.
Right.
The early pick 5 on Saturday, if Golden Pal wins, I hit the early pick 5. It was like that all weekend. And so then when we get to the late pick 5 and I have Flightline singled in the last, I told those guys, he ain't winning this race. Look at this. Every time I get to my single, I was losing. And at the Breeders' Cup, your singles, well, obviously, your singles have to win to cash any bet. But at the Breeders' Cup, your strong opinions need to win for you to unlock a lot of other success, because you can go 5 deep in some of those races and get some prices. And that's what was sickening. I was getting some prices home. And, my horse that I'd throw in, like the 4th or 5th horse I'd throw in a leg would win. And that's what you want. That's great. That means, all right, you spread in the right race. And then the singles would lose. So, yeah, that was extremely, extremely frustrating.
I hear you.
But, at least the late one came home. And the other thing that was extremely frustrating, I had a huge exacta straight Flightline with Taba. I mean, if Taba gets second,
yeah,
all those other bets, it really wouldn't have mattered. And so, and for a lot of the stretch, I thought Taba was going to get second, but give Olympiad credit for getting up there. So
now he will probably run as a 4-year-old, don't you think?
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. I forget who brought that up. I think it was Rob talked about the Pegasus. There it is. Pegasus has a lot of question marks. So you remember last year, Flightline versus Knicks Go was kind of locked in for the Pegasus. Right after the Breeders' Cup. This year, all our big horses are retired.
Right.
So where do we go? Taba is probably one. I think he's one that will target the Pegasus.
Yeah, because he hasn't run a whole lot.
Yeah.
So I think it would make sense to bring him back.
Yeah.
And try to win some more money with him, because he's lightly raised. And he might be a star as a 4-year-old.
Yeah, I think so. And, with Taba, as far as the Pegasus is concerned, we were actually talking about that, Rob, on the way home. So it's funny you brought that up. It's like, well, who's going to be in there to face him? I mean, Cyberknife, maybe? Rich Strike? I don't know. So that's going to be interesting to see how that works out.
Yeah. Well, to me, he may be, as the ones you've mentioned there, he's the most promising 4-year-old I can think of off the top of my head at the moment anyway.
Yeah, especially with Epicenter out now. Obviously, he kind of takes over that spot. I don't know what they'll do with Cyberknife.
Horses like Zandon and those. Well, they'll probably run as 4-year-old, don't you think?
I would think Zandon would. White Abario, I know, will target the Pegasus. So
yeah,
there'll be some runners. Taba's not going to scare off anybody either. No. That's not a disrespect to him, but he's not like, wow, this is this big headline horse coming in. What happened to Messier? So Messier is one that you would think, okay, he could probably be a 4-year-old. He bled during the race. That's why he stopped as bad as he did. So he bled during the race. We'll see what happens with him.
Yeah.
That one. Lord says, couldn't Flightline run one more time in the Pegasus? I don't get it. Why retire now? It's so soon. He's valued at $184 million right now. 2.5% of Flightline sold at auction for $4.6 million. So
And
that's fine.
I got roasted last week when I mentioned this, but it's true. He's fragile. He had some injury issues. There's no other way to put it, guys.
Yeah.
He would have run in big races if he hadn't had some injury issues. I mean, come on, use your brain.
Yeah, they can't risk it. They can't risk with a horse that's not quite sound. They can't really risk it. So.
Right.
Bree joined a little bit late. Yeah, domestic spinning is doing well. And it sounds pretty good. Sounds like he's going to be fine. Still got some recovering to do, but he's showing some real improvement right now. So
great news.
All right. You got any final thoughts on this thing before we go on?
No, I really don't. I don't think Keeneland's big enough to have this thing.
That's fair. It's not. Friday night was just a disaster getting out of there. Took forever.
Right.
Took 2.5 hours to get back to the Airbnb, and our Airbnb was 10 minutes away. So
yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's that was tough. Saturday we sat in the basically the field. You park in the field and played football for 2 hours until everybody cleared out, and then we left. That was much better. But yeah, it's really not. Tried to move around a couple times on Saturday and just couldn't do it. I had to wait an hour for a sandwich. I mean, it's just not big enough. It's a great place. I mean, a great place, but it's too small.
Right.
Yeah. Well, anything else?
That's all I got.
All right. I just want to shout out. I don't know if any of y'all are watching that met us this weekend, but we had so many people come up to us this weekend. It means the world to all of us. It really does. We get such a kick out of it. Met so many people. Some of them commenters, like Kevin O was there. We finally got to meet him in person, and so many that really aren't commenters, but say they watch our stuff, everything like that. They'll get a kick out of this. I met a couple people from Springfield, Missouri, that kind of pulled me to the side on the way out. They were yelling at me. I was like, and then I was like, oh, they're yelling at me. So I went back and saw them. So it was really cool to kind of meet so many different people. And thanks everybody for coming up to us. And that was awesome. Good stuff. Very good stuff.
What was those people's names? Did you catch it? I know. You get some.
Walked in my house. I know who they are, but I'm terrible with names.
Sure.
I don't know.
I can't remember names either unless I talk to them for a long time.
I really feel like if I saw them walking in the street, I would know exactly who they were, but I cannot remember their names. Live in Springfield and they go to Oakland a lot, and watch our stuff. Yeah, Dude's Tribe is real. That's right. We met Jesse at Saratoga, so there it is. So we met a lot of people at Saratoga as well. So yeah, always fun. Yeah, no, Dennis, I know your name. And
we know your name, Dennis.
I know the names of the people who comment because I see the names
all the
time. Yeah. Like Jason, it's like, he goes, hey, I'm Jason. I was like, absolutely. I know that name when I met him, Jesse, same way. So anyway, so that's that. All right. Well, do you want to go to college football now?
Yeah, we need to talk about the rankings before they come out.
Well, I've got good news. The rankings are out.
They're already out. Well,
they are already out. I will read them off to you.
No. Let me give you mine first.
Okay, you give me yours first.
Well, Georgia's got to be number one.
Georgia is number one.
Okay. I'm going to say Ohio State's 2.
You are correct.
Michigan's 3.
You are correct.
And TCU's got to be 4.
You are correct.
Okay. Now, where it gets interesting is who's next. I'm going to say Tennessee.
Tennessee is number 5.
Then I would put Oregon as 6.
Oregon is number 6.
Wow.
Yep.
I probably would go with USC number 7.
USC is number 8.
Oh, wow. Who was 7? They dropped Clemson farther than 7, didn't they?
Well, they don't. They just put out like an article. They didn't like write
Oh,
top. I'm having to read through it. USC is 8. UCLA is 12.
Mississippi 7.
Let's see. Blah, 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 blah. Let's see. Alabama is number 9. LSU moved up 3 spots to number 7.
So if you beat Alabama, you just move up.
Yes, I guess that's how it goes. So LSU, 2-loss LSU, now number 7.
Yeah, it doesn't matter that you've lost 2 games.
Right.
If you beat Alabama, you just get to move up.
Yeah.
Even if Alabama has lost twice and could easily have 3 losses.
They have, and it looks like rounding out the top 10 is Clemson at number 10, which I still think that's even a little high.
I do too.
And listen, Alabama's still ranked number 9 with 2 losses.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. So.
Well, let's talk about it for a little bit.
Okay.
And we know of the top 4, one of them is going to lose.
Right.
Because Ohio State plays Michigan. So one of those teams will have a loss. So I was sitting there looking at the remaining schedule of all of the unbeaten teams and the one-loss teams, because we know there's going to be a one-loss team in it now. There can only be 3 undefeated teams because one of the top 4 is going to lose.
Correct.
So now this, with Clemson losing and Alabama losing, it has opened it up for a lot of teams that didn't have a chance, including the number 4 team right now, TCU. They didn't have a chance. I don't care what anybody said. They weren't going to get in over a one-loss Alabama. It was not going to happen. So when you look at the remaining schedules, here's Georgia's. I think they have the easiest schedule, except for the fact they have to get through an SEC championship game. But if they're undefeated going into that, they're in, even if they lose.
Yeah.
In my opinion. They are at Mississippi State this week. Now, the only problem I can see with that game is if they are down a little bit after the Tennessee game.
They probably will be. Mississippi State has not been playing very good the last 2 games.
No. So I don't think they're going to lose that game. I think they'll have more trouble with the next one at Kentucky. But I don't think they're going to lose.
Kentucky has the defense that might keep that game close. But I mean, those are 2 road games they shouldn't lose. But if they are totally asleep, they could lose.
They could. And then they end the season with Georgia Tech.
Right.
So I think you have to rate their chances of staying undefeated about 80%, don't you?
I would as well. Now, let's talk real quick, though. Who are they going to play in the SEC championship game? That's where it gets interesting.
Yes.
There's 3 teams alive right now for that honor: LSU, Alabama, and Mississippi.
Well, LSU's in the driver's seat.
Yes.
Because they beat both Mississippi and Alabama. So if they went out, they will play. If Georgia goes as wins, they'll play Georgia.
Right.
Okay.
Now, here's a tricky game. Now, one of their games is UAB, so it's a non-conference game. They have 2 conference games left, both on the road. They go to Arkansas. They go to A&M.
That's right.
Both games they should win. But those are not easy games.
Oh, no. I would say that game this week's the hardest of the 3.
I would think so, yeah.
Arkansas always plays LSU tough. That is a big rivalry that people don't realize. It's a rivalry. But Arkansas is not playing very well.
No.
And how much of that, I mean, is this a season saver for them, this game? You know they're going to be ready. LSU's coming off the biggest win they've had since the national championship game, beating Alabama.
Yep.
And I guarantee you that coaching staff down there right now is worried to death about them being flat coming up to Arkansas. The way they beat Alabama, nobody gave them much of a chance.
Yep.
They went toe to toe with them. That was a great football game. I got to see the last half.
Yep.
That was a fantastic game. So I don't know that they beat Arkansas. I don't. I would not bet much on them.
So
game.
Here's the interesting thing. Arkansas plays a huge factor in this.
They do because
the next week they have Mississippi.
Right.
So if Mississippi was to beat Alabama this week, which that's going to eliminate one of those two, Alabama goes to Mississippi. Then Arkansas gets Mississippi the next week. So Arkansas has a chance to throw a monkey wrench into this.
And they're getting both of those teams after the Alabama game.
I know. Yes. Great break for a schedule that has been brutal.
And here's the deal. I don't think this will happen, but this is the first time since I can remember that Alabama's been eliminated pretty much. What is their psyche going to be going into Mississippi? I mean, are they going to? Here's the thing. I've watched a lot of Alabama. I don't think they're near as good as they've been, especially on defense.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're as good on offense as they've been either. They got a fantastic quarterback, or they would have lost three games.
Yeah.
This kid is really good. And he's been pulling them through some games. Now, I think if they're ready to play this week, they'll beat Mississippi. Don't you? I think they're better than Mississippi.
Yeah, I do. I think it's going to fall on the shoulders of LSU.
Yes.
I really feel like them beating Arkansas is going to be the big key here, and they can kind of lock it up if they do, because I think Alabama takes care of Mississippi. I did talk to a Mississippi graduate, and he's still down there. Archie was his name. He actually runs a liquor store. He was telling me, and he said, listen, they may come down here and beat us, but it's the biggest game. It's being hyped as like one of the biggest games in the history of the school. He said that this place is going to be absolutely bonkers for this game.
Here's the deal. These players at Alabama haven't been in this situation.
Yeah.
It is a big fall for them to already be eliminated. Well, you can't say they're eliminated because they're Alabama.
They're pretty much out of it.
I would think they're out of it. But if they go ahead and run the table and then win the SEC championship game, other crazy stuff happens. Who knows? So they're not totally out of it, but for all intents and purposes, they are. So being out of it this early, that was a disheartening loss. They've not been playing very well.
Yeah.
By their standards. So that an attitude thing here could be interesting to watch. Let's say they win. Let's say Mississippi upsets them. I could see Arkansas beating them the next week.
That's the thing. Arkansas is a decent team. They're not great, but they're decent. They can play the upsetter. They might be able to win one of these next two and kind of wreck somebody's chances.
Exactly.
Like I said, emotional. I mean, that was a wild ending to that game at LSU. They're not going to be back ready to play. But let's not forget, Arkansas on a skid. They lost to Liberty last week.
I know.
But that almost makes them more dangerous in games like this. They're at home.
Right. These two games coming up against highly ranked teams could save their season if they win both. Right. They suddenly turn what looks like to be a disaster. Okay, let's say they lose them both. They're 5-6.
Yeah.
This is a team that thought they should be 10-2, 9-3. And if they win them both, they're 7-4. So going into their last game against Missouri. So it's really interesting, the psyche of these teams coming into these games. Because I really don't think LSU's that good. I think they played the game of their lives. Their quarterback was outstanding. I don't think he's all that great. And Alabama's defense isn't very good.
Yeah.
And they're making a ton of mistakes. Alabama's making mistakes they don't usually make. And I don't know what's quite going on there. But anyway, now let's look at TCU, because of the four that are undefeated, we probably rank them the weakest of the four. They got two tough games in a row. They're at Texas. Texas is a 7-point favorite in this
Yep.
game.
Yep.
I'm taking TCU. I don't know they're going to win, but 7? That's crazy. Then they got to go to Baylor. I saw Baylor last week. I was impressed with Baylor. They're not as good as they've been, but that ain't going to be easy for them to go in there and beat them. And then they finish up with Iowa State. I'm not sure they're going to get through that undefeated.
So this is what you got to think with the Big 12. You've got those 2 road games. I don't know. I don't think they're going to get through them both. You got the Iowa State game that they'll probably win, but then they're going to have to go up against. You draw a name out of a hat as far as who they're going to go up against in the Big 12 championship game.
Yeah.
The Big 12 right now has about 5 teams outside of TCU. They're all solid and they can all beat you on a given day.
Absolutely.
But they're not, none of them are great. None of them are horrible. So they've still got work to do. I think TCU is going to get beat. And I think obviously,
for it.
What's that?
We've all been waiting for that.
It's going to happen. I just don't think they're that good. And so then it's going to be, I think to me, when you look at these rankings, because we know Ohio State or Michigan, one of them's going undefeated. One of them is losing 1. They're not, I mean, their schedules minus each other are atrocious.
Yeah, here's what Michigan's got.
Yeah.
Nebraska, that's at home. Illinois, that's in Ann Arbor. And they got to go to Ohio State.
Yeah.
Ohio State's got Indiana in Columbus. They have to go to Maryland, and they have Michigan. So you're right. Both of those teams should be 12 or 11-0 going into the final game of the year.
Yeah, and whoever wins will go to the Big 12 or Big 10 championship game and play nobody as well. Absolutely. So now this is where it gets interesting. Let's just say, sake of argument, TCU gets beat. Okay. And let's just say, just so we have a team slotted in there, Ohio State beats Michigan. So we'll have Georgia 1 and Ohio State 2. You're going to have a 1-loss Michigan in there. You're going to have a 1-loss Tennessee in there. And then you've got this Pac-12 trio of Oregon, USC, and UCLA.
Well, if you have that scenario, Oregon, USC, UCLA, whoever comes through that, forget it. If Tennessee's lost 1 and Michigan's lost 1, they're in.
So that's why that was you took. Yeah, I didn't even ask it yet. You knew what I was asking. So in that scenario, it's going to be Georgia, Ohio State, Tennessee, Michigan. I don't know what order 3 and 4 would be, but that's what it's going to be.
Right, it's got to be.
So for the Pac-12 to get a team in, they need TCU and Tennessee to lose, basically.
Yes, that's when it really gets interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if that happens, if all TCU, the only way TCU gets in, they got to be undefeated.
Yeah, I think 1 loss and they're out.
Unless crazy crap happens and all these other teams lose. All these other 1-loss teams lose.
Yeah.
I think everybody would agree that TCU's got to be undefeated to get in. That's not necessarily right, but that's the way it is. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and keep Georgia and Ohio State. You can sub Michigan for Ohio State here. We're just assuming Ohio State's going to win. We're just say because it's in Columbus. The game's in Columbus is why we're assuming that. Because Michigan, I'm telling you, they're pretty good, and I won't be surprised if they beat them.
I think Michigan can beat them. I don't think there's any doubt they've got a shot to beat them. Yeah. I think it's going to be close. So now if it's a situation where Dennis says and it's a blowout one way or the other, then that's going to affect it. But let's assume it's a decent game, a closer game.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Dennis. Now, Tennessee, they should finish with 1 loss. They have Missouri this week. That's in Knoxville. They have to go to South Carolina. They will have to play like shit to lose that game.
Yeah.
They'd have to choke, basically. And then they finish up at Vanderbilt. Now, they got thumped pretty good by Georgia. But if it's Georgia and Ohio State's the only 2 undefeated, and Tennessee comes through that 11-1, they got to be in, don't they?
I think they would have to be in at that point. Yeah.
because they beat Alabama.
Well, not only that, their one loss was beat to the number 1 team, and
Absolutely.
it was 27-13.
On the road. On the road.
If you're comparing them with Oregon, Oregon lost to the number 1 team 49-3. So,
yeah. Now, here's a little interesting thing. Let's say Ohio State beats Michigan. Michigan has no good wins.
Yeah.
They don't have any. I think their best win, I don't think they have a best win.
See, I think in that situation that we're throwing out, I think Tennessee would move up to 3. And then I think it would be between Michigan or Ohio State, whoever loses, and Oregon or LSU, or Oregon, USC, and UCLA, whoever comes through it.
Now, I think the team with the best shot in the Pac-12 is Oregon if they only lose one.
Yeah.
Because they're going to have some impressive wins on their resume. They're going to have to beat. Here's who they got the next 2 weeks. They got Washington this week. Yeah. They've lost 2 games. They got Utah next week. And then let's say USC's lost 1 game and they beat them in the Pac-12 championship.
Or UCLA, either one.
Or UCLA, either one of them.
Yeah.
That's 3 very, very good wins. They could nose out Michigan if Ohio State thumps Michigan.
I would rather see Oregon in it than Michigan in that scenario that you just laid out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would take them. Now, I don't know if that's the reality of what's going to happen. I kind of lean to your side of thinking that probably won't happen, but right. I think it should.
The Pac-12 has got to be rooting their butts off for TCU to get beat.
Mm-hmm.
I think Clemson's out no matter what.
Well, that's the first domino. TCU's got to get out of there. It was almost like the Clemson situation. They needed to lose, right? Because that's a domino that needed to fall. Now it's TCU's kind of quote unquote turn.
Now, the other team we're leaving out of this is Mississippi.
Right.
They got a shot.
So
if they go through that and they finish 11-1, of course, they've got to beat Georgia in the SEC championship game.
Yeah. But isn't it odd that we're now to the games on November 12th, and on that side of the SEC, Mississippi is the one that has a chance now?
Yeah, they do. That is very odd.
Because now, is it a good chance? Not really, because they're going to have to beat Alabama and Georgia, and quite frankly, they're not going to do that.
Probably not.
Here's the other monkey wrench into this that you're not thinking about.
Okay.
They could go 11-1 and not play Georgia because LSU has to lose, or LSU's going to the SEC championship game.
That's true. That's true.
So Mississippi could go 11-1 and beat Alabama and still not make the SEC.
How would you like to be in that scenario? Would that be awful?
So they've got a shot at it, but they need some help. And honestly, LSU could block them from making. Again, I don't really think anybody's beating Georgia, so I don't think it matters.
I don't either.
Still, it's football. Anything can happen.
Well, we see this every week.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many mysteries out there right now. Clemson, awful Saturday.
But let's talk about that game for a second. Did that really surprise you that much that they got beat?
It gave up so many points. Surprised me.
Okay, that's fair. We were out watching. We were watching that game, and we were watching, of course, LSU Bama, and none of us were really surprised. We were almost kind of relieved. Like, thank God Clemson's not going to be in this because they're not any good.
Have they got the most – well, let me see if I can think of anybody else. He's got to be the most overrated quarterback in the last 4 or 5 years.
I just don't get why they just keep throwing him out there.
He's awful. The other kid isn't good either.
Yeah, but at some point –
he's just a freshman, though. The other kid is.
Right, yeah.
I think him and Spencer Rattler have got to be the most overrated prospects in the last 2 or 3, 4 years.
Yep.
I mean, it's shocking because if you'll remember when we were discussing Clemson last year, he had played a couple of games when Trevor Lawrence got hurt or in COVID or whatever it was.
He played well.
And he played fantastic.
Yeah.
He looked a superstar, and he doesn't even look like the same player.
No.
He lost weight going into this season. He slimmed down. I thought that would help him. He looks slow.
Yeah.
Looks like he's never thrown a pass in his life. And it shows you if you don't have a quarterback, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
And they still could go 11-1. Now I tell you what, Dennis, if you're listening, your Louisville team is playing fantastic.
Yep.
And you got to go to Clemson this week. And let's see here. I wrote this down somewhere. Clemson's a 7.5-point favorite. I think I'm taking Louisville in that game.
They're really playing well right now.
Yeah.
They've won 4 in a row. They beat a really good James Madison team. They stomped Wake Forest.
Yes.
It's a different ball game going on the road to Clemson, but yeah, they're playing really well right now.
Well, when you go play a team on the road that doesn't have a quarterback, you got a shot.
Well, they're coming off a loss, and it's going to be a really disappointing season at Clemson. They're that level. They lose one, and their season's kind of ruined a bit. So, be interesting to see what happens in that game. I think they're dangerous this week.
Oh, I do too. They're playing very, very well, and I feel good about the Florida State win this week. They killed Miami.
Yeah.
I mean, Miami is a dumpster fire. They are pathetic.
Yep.
Texas A&M is a joke.
Yep.
You realize they haven't won a game since they ruined Arkansas' season.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
And they shouldn't have won that game. They could easily be 2-7.
Easily. Yes.
This is a team with the best recruiting class in the country. What's left of it, that had been kicked off for smoking dope and everything else.
Right.
Did you see, was it on the show last week? Somebody said Fisher's buyout's $84 million.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Florida State. I want to bring them up for a second. They've got a shot here to go 9-3. They're 6-3.
Uh-huh.
Their 3 losses were by 10 points, 2 points, and 6 points.
Mm-hmm.
So you talk about, Miami and Florida State have been down. Even Florida State seems to be the closest of those 3 schools to starting to turn the corner a little bit.
And they play in the SEC or ACC, which really helps. Who they got left?
They have at Syracuse this weekend, and the bloom's off that rose.
Yeah.
They have Louisiana at home, and then they have Florida at home. So, I mean, listen, it's not a lock they're going to go 9-3, but they've got a great shot.
Yeah. I like the coach. I think he does a good job. And it just stands to reason they're going to come back. I mean, they're in too good a situation to stay down forever.
Yeah.
Miami, everybody, year after year thinks, and I'm one of them, I fall for it, and they're not any good. They are so bad.
Yeah.
They're just bad.
They're horrible. They are horrible. Well, it's going to be interesting. We're gonna do our prediction show tomorrow night, Wednesday night. So that's going to be tomorrow night, and we'll talk about all the games coming up. But this is going to be a really fun next 4 weeks of this college football season.
It is, and it always is. This sport is just incredible. The LSU Alabama game, I couldn't stop watching it. It was a great game. These games are so exciting.
Yep. Yeah. Well, listen. We were out at a bar in Louisville, and half the bar there was a live band playing. It was a lot of fun, but half the bar was over there watching LSU and Alabama's finish because it's just that exciting and such a good game.
It was. And, I knew Brian Kelly was going to go for 2. And by the way, Brian Kelly now is suddenly just a fantastic coach, and everybody said he couldn't win. Yeah. People are so stupid. If you can coach, it doesn't matter where you're at.
Well, listen, he got Notre Dame to a level they hadn't been at in a long, long time.
And they were consistently there.
Yeah. And so you're telling me you can't get LSU to that level, but you can get Notre Dame? I mean, it was crazy to think.
If you can coach, it doesn't matter where you're at.
And listen, this team isn't that good. Like you said,
they're not.
He's going to get better players.
And they may lose a game down the stretch. It's because they're not that good.
Yeah.
He's got a quarterback that came in from Arizona State that he has talent. He's not a superstar, but he's got him playing great. Brian Kelly is a great coach. He is a great coach. Yes, he's a little bit weird, and the press doesn't like him because he tells them the way it is.
Right.
And by the way, have you seen Leach Mike Leach.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
He's got to get that cough straightened out. He can't even talk.
It doesn't sound good.
It does not. Did you see him put all the seats down on the sideline?
Oh yeah.
Did you hear his explanation for it?
Yeah. Yes.
He thought that they liked sitting in there, drinking their pop or whatever,
Right.
more than playing. So he decided they can stand up for a while. That was hilarious. The guy is just
He's classic college football. That's how you can describe him.
He's just
Yeah. He is made for college football. There's no doubt. And he's got a big chance this weekend to pull off a big upset. We'll see if he can do it. I don't know, but they're another team. They could throw a monkey wrench into things as well.
Because they got to still play Ole Miss.
Exactly.
So that's a rivalry. You never know what's going to happen in that game, but
well,
it's going to be great.
I've been saying it. They're catching Georgia at the perfect time. Now, if Georgia's flat, they can upset them, but they're going to have to be really flat.
Yeah, they're going to have to make some mistakes.
Well, they might, and if they do, they But the thing it is about Georgia, the Tennessee offense was killing everybody, and they were helpless at Georgia.
Yeah,
and that's the difference, folks. They have a defense, and many of these teams don't.
That's right.
That's gonna be the big difference.
They are really good. Yep. They really are. Another team I want to mention real quick.
Yeah,
Tulane has been unbelievable. Yep. Look at their finishing stretch.
Yeah, it's tough.
Central Florida, an SMU team that's scoring points like crazy, and they finish up at Cincinnati. That's going to be hard.
They need to protect their home turf. That's what they got to try to do. So,
and one more thing before we go to the NFL. Just quick, I don't want to talk about this very long, but I've got a shout out to the Oklahoma fans. We have had a very disappointing season. Aaron, you weren't there. That crowd for a 5-3 team. Now, it was a great game. It really was. It's very interesting. It was fun. Got a little cold. It was kind of cold down there. But anyway, that crowd was as wild as any crowd I've ever seen at an OU game. And that's saying something for a 5-3 OU team. We're not used to that. They were into it. They gave it everything they had. And my hat's off to them. I did not think I'd see a 5-3 team be supported like that team is, especially when it's not very good.
Yeah. No, it's too bad that they don't have anything to watch.
Yeah. Well, they keep it interesting, but that's about it.
I watched the majority of the game. I thought they played awful.
They did on one side of the ball.
Which side?
Well, the offense, 2 of those turnovers were just dumb.
Yeah.
Just freaky. The other one was a bad throw. Here's the thing with OU. They play as hard as they can play. They play hard.
I don't think so.
Yeah, they do.
I don't think so.
They don't have any defensive linemen, and they just get killed. The defensive line does.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't have anybody. And offensively, Eric Gray is a stud. They've got players. They just aren't. These OU teams in the past have made mistakes and they can overcome them. This team can't. They can't do it. When they play somebody good, and Baylor's good. They really are. They're well coached. And I'll tell you what, Aaron, Baylor's offensive line was huge compared to our midgets.
Mm-hmm.
They dwarfed us. And that's the problem. We've got to get bigger.
Yeah.
We've got to get some bigger guys because we're trying to win with smaller guys. You can't do it. That aren't very good either.
Well, it's a kind of a revolutionary idea. Go get players.
Yeah,
it's really pretty much way easier than it ever has been. So maybe go get them.
They've got to do it.
Maybe do what the new coach at Oregon did and get a bunch of players.
I think they're good enough on offense to win.
Maybe do what the new coach at USC did and go get some players.
Got to go get defensive players. They're okay on offense. They're okay. Their other backs are okay.
No, offensively, they've got some holdovers that are good.
They'll all be back except Gray.
Yeah.
If I guess they won't go pro. I don't see there's no pros on that team. So they are going to look at the offensive line. Their offensive line is playing pretty well. So
honestly, they need probably, let's see, there's 22 starters. You count both sides of the ball. They need about 16 new faces. I'm serious. They're not any good, and he did nothing. He did nothing to get players.
You're not going to get 16 new faces.
The pass that he continues to get is ridiculous when you see what the other programs with new coaches that were in worse shape are doing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's a joke. They're not any good. They went up to Iowa State, and it's just like, God, we are horrible. Yeah. I mean, Iowa State and Oklahoma had about the same talent level.
That's true.
And if you flip the quarterbacks, because Iowa State's quarterback is awful. If you flip the quarterbacks, Iowa State would have beat Oklahoma.
Oh, easy. They don't want easy.
And in that game, they're not very good. All right. It's got a long ways to go.
First time. I was proud of the OU crowd.
Yeah, and that's great to hear for sure, because
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't.
They really were pretty good for the Kansas game.
They were excellent.
And they traveled really well to Iowa State. And and I think
Bedlam's going to be crazy when they play Oklahoma State. It'll be wild.
Yeah, two horrible teams. So
what's happened to them?
No quarterback.
Yeah, they got hurt. So
yeah. All right, let's skip the NFL. We'll save that for tomorrow's show, because I did want to end it with this, because I know Gunrunner, Steve Asmussen, horse you love as well. Gunrunner last year stood for let's see, hold on. Gunrunner listed as a private fee in 2023 after a $125,000 fee last season. So what that means when they say private fee means it's pretty high. So are you surprised that Gunrunner has become kind of the biggest sire in the country?
No. Are you?
I'm not either.
The superstar horse that developed late, as so many of his does. He's produced some really good ones, hasn't he?
It's been fantastic to see what he's done. He is a big time sire. And we have two headlining young sires now with Not This Time and Gunrunner.
Yeah.
They're big time sires. And that's great to see. Horse racing has never really, lacked stars, but the way that continues is you get the next wave of sires and they are successful. Gunrunner certainly looks to be, boy, Steve Asmussen horses going on to be pretty darn good sires, aren't they?
Yeah, he's going to have to go away to get to Curlin's status.
Yeah.
You can't hardly go through a race anywhere in the country and there's not a Curlin horse running. Yeah. I'd like to know how many colts and fillies he has.
I know.
They're everywhere, all over the place. And he's had a bunch of really, really good ones. So,
what about Flightline? Wonder what he will stand for.
It's so funny too. Just because he's great doesn't mean he'll be a good sire. We see this a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know for sure whether it should be.
That's just the thing. American Pharaoh, Justify,
very good.
Whatever, right?
I don't think Secretariat was very good, was he?
No, he was not a great sire.
No. So,
but then you have your Curlins and your Tappets that turn out. It's not an exact science, and sometimes those freaks can't reproduce themselves.
They can't, and it's really odd how that works. It really is. Some of the best sires of all time weren't fantastic horses.
Yep,
they were good. They were solid, but they weren't champions like these. And it's funny how it works. You see that in humans too.
Yeah,
a lot of times the offspring of a great athlete isn't anywhere close to what dad was.
Yeah, and then sometimes if you're a Manning, it's different.
That's an exception to the rule. Yes.
Yeah.
But Jordan's kids were okay, but they weren't great.
Yeah.
So, they were athletes, obviously.
Right.
Tell you one I think's going to be pretty good. From what I've seen, I think Tiger's little boy is going to be a pretty good golfer.
He definitely looks it.
If he's not, my God, that swing. If that I don't know have you seen any of that?
Yeah.
He's the spitting image. He stands like him. He acts like him. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it is like watching a little tiger for
I
sure.
love to watch him play.
Yeah.
The way he swings that club with all that power for a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, whatever he is. Pretty awesome.
It's pretty crazy to watch that. Yeah, for
Yep.
sure. Just an example of what we're talking about. A horse like Tappet, who has been a generational sire, 6
Right.
starts, 3 wins, right? So it's like
Unbelievable.
you don't have to be just this crazy, horse. A sire is not an exact science. Like not this time, for example. He got hurt, but he hadn't let the world on fire at all. And then
Yeah.
got him now. So Flightline was very fragile. Does that carry over in the breeding? I mean, it can, but Take Knots this time only had 3 or 4 starts. His horses seem to be doing okay so far. So
yeah, I don't I think anybody can get hurt.
Yeah.
This is a stupid question.
Okay.
Curlin's been around for a long time as a sire, right?
Mm-hmm.
How long does that last?
Yeah, they will start to kind of decline. I am not all up on the breeding and when exactly it starts to happen, but yeah, the older ones, they start to kind of, level off, go down a little bit. He's probably getting close to that.
He's that old. He's about 18, isn't he?
Yeah. Let's see. He would
He's a
be
3-year-old in what, 07?
Yeah, so he would be
He's
he'd be 18. Yeah.
He's 18. I would say he's got a couple more years in him, and
Yeah.
they won't breed him as much, probably.
Yeah, they kind of back off a little bit on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's gonna be fun. It's fun to have a gun runner doing what he's doing. That's exciting. And Arrogant was a horse that he passed away, but it looked like he was going to be pretty decent.
He was, yeah.
So that's sad to see as well. All right.
Hold on, one more thing. A lot of those Baffert horses haven't been good sires.
Wonder why that might be.
Yeah, I just wonder. That's an interesting point I just thought up there. But they haven't. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I got some fun ones here.
Okay. What do you got? Let's wrap it up. What do you got?
Now, you guys are the ones doing the not me. In fact, when I brought that up, I didn't even think about that, to be honest.
Well, that's what's funny. It has been brought up in some horse racing circles.
Okay. I just think okay. Yeah. Like Pharaoh.
Yeah.
None of his horses are any good, are they?
Very few.
I mean, I remember when the first ones came out, everybody was betting them like crazy and losing their money. So
yeah, very few.
Yeah. All right, here we go. I've got some. Okay, I've got some favorites, questions, and then either or.
Oh my God, this sounds like it's going to get crazy. Okay.
No, not really.
Okay, we're ready.
First one. Okay. You and I have had the pleasure of being in a lot of different sports venues.
Yes.
Now, you can't say Oklahoma.
Okay.
As your favorite sports stadium or arena.
Ooh.
The one that you think that you liked the best.
Oh boy, that's hard.
One you've been to that blew you away. You've been to probably more than I have.
I gotta say it's Fenway Park.
Yeah, you were going to say that, and I would probably say that too.
And I'm not really a huge baseball fan, but that was one of the most unique experiences I've ever had. Now, as far as like an atmosphere or stuff like that, no, but that was different than most places that you go.
I would probably say that about Wrigley Field if I ever went there.
Right. Yeah. And I'm sure that's the same feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite and that I've ever been in, and this is going to go way back because it's not there anymore, is the old arena in St. Louis.
Yeah.
I love that. And again, another one I loved, and I was a little kid. I was only about 12, but I went to several games there. Was the old Busch Stadium in St. Louis? The old, the very old, not the round one.
Oh, not that one. Okay.
So the Sportsman Park, it was called. That was a cool place. And I also love the Cotton Bowl.
But yeah, the Cotton Bowl is different, but yeah,
it's pretty cool.
I would, that old arena in St. Louis was good. It was good.
You could feel that building shake. I swear to God, you could.
The new arena that they built downtown is way more convenient, much better place, but for the stadium, but it's not.
No,
it's not as cool.
It doesn't have the vibe.
Or does Augusta National count? I think so, for sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'd give anything to go to that.
Sylvain, how about Wrigley Field?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so. I would say go to a hockey game in Montreal would be pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. The Montreal Forum. Yeah, with the Ghosts.
And ghosts. The old, where the Blackhawks played, Chicago Stadium.
Yeah.
They tore that down and built a United.
Yeah.
Chicago Stadium was like the old arena in St. Louis. There we go.
Rupp Arena is cool. It's so funny. We saw it a couple times while we were downtown this weekend. It's cool for sure. And yeah, Dennis wearing all of his Louisville stuff. That's cool.
Yeah.
Fenway, yeah, like Fenway is like Saratoga almost.
I could see that.
It really felt like you're at an old time baseball game. It was neat. It was really neat. Madison Square Garden's a place I'd like to go.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool too.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty neat.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Probably. I mean, Arrowhead Stadium for a Chiefs game.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
We've been to Big 12 championship games there, and that is a heck of a setting.
Yeah, that's a great place. Yeah. Anyway.
It really is. All right. We may have done this one. Favorite cookie.
Oh God. Favorite cookie. What a 180. Chocolate chip.
Chocolate chip is your favorite?
Yeah, easily.
Okay.
You?
So you eat a chocolate chip over anything.
Yes.
I like those double stuffed EL fudge cookies are my favorite.
I feel like we did do this like last year, maybe.
We talked about it.
Last week, I mean.
We didn't get into, I don't know how that came up.
2 weeks ago.
Favorite dessert, maybe. I don't know. Snack.
Yeah.
Sweet, maybe. All right, here we go. Either or. This is really funny. Okay. Pineapple pizza.
Ooh.
Or candy corn.
Ugh.
Well, that's for me.
Candy corn for me.
Oh, there's no doubt. I can't eat, but pineapple on pizza, I just don't like it.
By the way, I ate pizza 4 times on the Breeders' Cup trip.
Oh, God.
On the way there, we stopped at Emo's Pizza and ate.
Uh-huh.
And then we had some other Stoner's Pizza or some shit. We called it in. And then we ate at Goodfellas, which is really good. Mm-hmm. But anyway, yeah, candy corn, but
hey.
No, don't want either one.
Thing I do with this, but Sandy and I found a pizza joint you guys got to go to.
Okay.
In the O show. You been to that one?
The cellar, pizza cellar?
Yeah, you been there?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Didn't you think that's a pretty cool place?
It's a cool place, yeah. It's good.
You know, pizza?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. All right. Shit. Yeah. Thought we found something. All right, here we go. This one's really fun. This is good.
Okay.
Loud neighbors or nosy neighbors?
I've got a nosy neighbor. She's extremely nosy, but I just avoid her. You can't really avoid noise, so I would go noisy.
Really? See, I'd go the other way.
I mean, nosy over loud. Okay. I don't want a loud neighbor. You can't avoid the loud.
That's a good. You thought that out really good.
Yeah, well, because I avoid her
more than I do because I don't like somebody's. I'm thinking of watching everything I do.
I like most everybody we live by, and I don't dislike this one person, but I don't care like what all the other people in the neighborhood are doing. So, and she does. So, like when I see her out, I go the other way because if I run into her, she's friendly enough, but it's like, hey, the so-and-sos are doing this. And did you know they're doing this? And you know they're doing this. I was like, I don't know who these people are. Like, I
Exactly.
couldn't pick them out of the lineup. I don't care. So
you know where I live, so you know why I said nosy neighbors.
Correct. You're in the worst neighborhood in the world, I think.
It's gotten a little better, but not much. All right.
Yeah, loud neighbors are tough. Because what are you gonna do? You know?
Dennis is a loud neighbor.
Dennis, I could see that.
Yeah, especially when he loses a race or a game or something like that. Yeah.
Right. We were probably loud neighbors this weekend in Lexington. So anyway.
Yeah, loud neighbors. I'm so lucky. The couple that moved in next door to us, they're fantastic. I never see them. They're absolute. That's the best neighbors there are.
Yeah. That's most of the people around here too. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. You like night or morning better?
I love getting up in the morning and getting my stuff done so I can enjoy the night. So I don't know what is the answer there. Like, I love getting everything done by like noon, but that means you got to get up at like 5. So,
well, okay.
I don't mind getting up in the morning. I'm like, when we go on the trips with the dudes, you got 4 dudes in there. I'm always the first one up. I would say night though is what I enjoy the most because that's when all the games and stuff come on. You know,
you're not working.
Yeah,
I love mornings. It's quiet.
Yeah,
I get up early. I always have, and I've never been a late sleeper. Never. Yeah, you guys. Jason said early morning. It's so calm, and I just love it.
There's something about getting up early and getting work done before a lot of other people are up. That's nice. I'll say that.
Yeah. Yeah. Crunchy peanut butter or smooth?
Smooth.
Me too.
Yeah.
There's something about crunchy peanuts and peanut butter that annoys me.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
No. Anything special to eat during the Christmas season?
No.
Nothing.
No.
No Christmas desserts? I thought you liked sugar cookies.
Yeah, okay.
You like those, don't you?
I do. I mean, I don't really like, oh, it's Christmas, now we can have those type of thing, though. You know what I mean? But yeah, I do like it. Yeah.
A couple of things I don't understand. Number one, most people love pumpkin pie, correct?
Okay, I know where you're going, but go ahead. Yeah.
Why do we only eat it at Thanksgiving and Christmas?
Yeah, exactly. I love pumpkin pie. I look forward to it all year. It's like, well, shit, why don't I just eat it today, for example?
It's the easiest pie in the world to make.
Yeah.
It's so easy. I mean, I make pumpkin pies, and I don't understand why we don't eat them more. I love them. But why don't I go ahead and make them? That's pretty stupid, I guess.
And I don't know if maybe we wouldn't like them if we had them more. I've thought about that, you know?
I think we would like them if we had them like 5 times a year instead of 2.
You're not wrong. Maybe we should ask Samich this tomorrow because he's usually very analytical when it comes to
shit, he'll know exactly the reason.
I know. I think on the sports show tomorrow, we're going to ask him this.
I might throw him off, but anyway.
Well,
pumpkin is a fall food. You know, it's a fall thing. Pumpkin is.
It is, but
pumpkin flavored stuff comes out in the fall and not any other time.
I know. You're right.
I don't get it.
I don't either. But
there's another thing I don't get, at least around well, my whole life. Why do we only have fudge at Christmas?
Yeah, that's another one. I don't know.
I mean, homemade fudge. You can go buy fudge other places.
Yeah.
I love fudge. You know, do you like pumpkin coffee? Yeah, pumpkin spice is good, but you don't get it any time but Christmas. I mean, the fall.
Magic loves it. He had me order it for him a couple times on the trip.
Pumpkin spice is good.
We've done favorite comedian.
Yes, George Carlin.
George Carlin. That's
But we went through all that, Jesse. Man, there's some good ones.
There are some good.
By the way, that guy you told me, I can't remember, Bill Burr or something like that.
I think Dennis told you about Bill Burr, maybe.
I thought it was you.
I don't think so.
Well, whoever it was funny. He is funny.
Bill Burr is funny. Yeah.
He is funny.
What's your favorite fudge flavor?
Oh, chocolate.
Chocolate.
Not even close.
All
I
right.
can eat peanut butter, but not very much.
Yeah.
Give me a good fudge. I can eat the whole pan. I try not to, though. Why do we only have turkey?
That's another one. I don't know.
We don't have that very often.
Yeah. It's odd.
And why do we only have, at least in our house, homemade noodles when everybody absolutely loves them?
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't either.
I don't know. But you're right.
I don't get it.
You're right.
So those are just questions that I don't have the answers for. And I never will because
Would you rather have turkey or ham?
I'm a turkey person.
Me too. Heather is a ham person.
I like ham.
Yeah.
If I had to choose, if the turkey is moist, I don't like dry. If it's moist, I think I'd rather have turkey than ham.
I don't mind either one of them, but I would choose turkey over ham. But I could eat either one. That's
Yeah. I'll take the turkey first, usually.
All right. Anything else before we go?
That's going to do it because we're going to be right back tomorrow night. So we got to save some of these.
That's right. Don't waste them all. Do not waste them all. All right. Yes, we will be back tomorrow night doing the normal. We're back. Normal week. Doing college football and the NFL.
Best bet shows tomorrow, right? Too. We're back.
And that's right. The best bet shows are back Wednesday through Sunday. We will be back. Samich and I back from the Breeders' Cup. And it's gonna be it's gonna be fun to have that show back. So that's good as well. So
a lot of pressure though.
Yes, the pressure is back. We ended on a very good note. We had a very good. We had back-to-back really good weeks, and then we took a week off, so we're back. I know Samich will be excited about that. And yeah, we got a lot going on. A lot of sports to choose from. So get to studying up.
14 parlays.
Yes, yeah. He will take some risks. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. All right. Well, that's it.
Yeah, you guys want to go watch that exciting hockey game.
They're behind, so no, I don't.
Well, what else is new?
Yeah, we're looking for 8 losses in a row tonight for the Blues. It's a real fun time. So
they're fun to watch, aren't they?
Yeah, it's exciting. It's a long season. Oh yeah, they really just score a bunch of goals.
Put that puck in the net now. They don't even get it on net. That's the thing.
No.
There's going to be an overhaul up there before long.
Yes, for sure.
All right. We'll talk about that tomorrow too, maybe.
Yes, we will. All right. We're going to get off here, guys. Thanks, everybody, for watching. It was a good show. We will be back tomorrow. We'll be doing our picks. And, we'll do it right again. So everybody come back and we will we'll see how we do. All right, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you guys.
This is Due to Bet Sports. Due to Bet Sports, it's your favorite show. Due to Bet Sports, where degenerates go. Due to Bet Sports, time to change your approach with Aaron Haldeman and his father, the coach. Let's ride.
Well, the Associated Press is full of shit.